Good evening, WSCC mothers. I am back with your third edition of the Programming Pearls. This week's edition is all about idea inspiration. I know you've already connected with your host mothers, and if you haven't, please do so tonight because we want these ideas to be inclusive of everyone's thoughts and opinions. So, first steps first. Again, we're coming to you 5 minutes or less with tips that are hopefully going to make your jobs a lot easier. So again, tonight is about idea inspiration and the who, what, when, where, why, and how of planning quality grade group events. So first steps first, if you have not connected with the other host mothers, please do so. We want ideas to have been submitted by yesterday, but we're going to extend that date to June 10th. So the who, we already know who, your child. And so make sure you know your child, what they want, what they need, what exposure, experiences, and enrichment you want for your child, and also children that are their age. And so think about, as you're planning your idea, what they're into, what they're not into, how long the event should be, what kind of breaks should be incorporated into it, how many girls, how many boys. You just need to know the demographics of your grade group as you're planning the activity. Though who, and so we talked about the who, so the when. Also, please be mindful of the day and time of your activity. So if you've got little ones and there's a particular nap time, I'm so far beyond that, thank God. But if you've got little ones and there's a nap time, then you want to be mindful of that as you're planning activities. If you've got older kids that tend to have activities and sports and clubs and enrichment on Saturday mornings, and we should avoid Saturday mornings. And so think about it, do a poll in your grade group to see what's a good day and time that we should kind of pencil in as our grade group activity, sort of what we're going to stick to, or at least try to. So again, these times and days should be most convenient for the kids, not for us, because I've done that, but it should be what's most convenient for our kids and teens and tweens so we can maximize attendance. The where, let's be mindful, let's be thoughtful about our location. I did a grade group activity about dancing, African dancing, and we rented out the Dance Hub in Aurora. We did obviously some civic engagement activities at City Hall. We did that with an event last year. I did it with an event a few years ago. If you're doing something around cooking or farming, let's go to a farm, let's go to a restaurant. So let's try to make sure we identify locations that are meaningful and that really, kind of speak to the content of the activity. So finally, let's talk about the what and the how. And so again, scope is going to be your best friend, ladies. You're not getting an award for original ideas. Let's repurpose ideas that are already out there, get inspiration from ideas that are already out there. So I picked just two from the Scope 2025 that I thought were phenomenal. And I'm just going to very quickly read those and then we'll wrap up. So from the Anchorage, Alaska, the far west region, their teens participated in a powerful mock trial at the Anchorage courthouse, hosted by one of the honorable judges there. The courtroom staff was fully present. The teens were guided through each phase of the experience of a mock trial. They took roles on as attorneys, witnesses, bailiffs, and jurors, and received instructions at every step. The judge delivered official jury instructions, and the jury engaged in an authentic deliberation before returning a verdict and closing the case. After the trial, they toured the courthouse, and they also were able to meet real-life prosecution and defense attorneys before court resumed. So again, this is a civic legislative activity. It involves exposure to African American leaders. It also gives a hands-on experience, teaches them some really important skills. And so we want to make sure that we are committed to some of those principles when we're developing their activities. For the little ones, this was so cute. It was out in Montgomery, Alabama. It was the Rosa Parks birthday tea party and scavenger hunt. So they began the day with a special meet and greet with the pastor of the church that Dr. Martin Luther King once led the congregation. They also set off down this Dexter Street, which is a really historic street in Montgomery, where they hunted for meaningful items like a hat, glasses, a sewing kit, all representing important moments in Rosa Parks' life. Every time they found something, they were awarded a prize, and then they took photos, and then they had cookies, and then they wrapped up with a charming lesson on fancy table manners. and a tasting of a kid-friendly charcuterie board. So again, they got to have a really meaningful hands-on experience, exposure to Black excellence and Black history, and then they topped it off with some etiquette, some exposure to some etiquette. So my son has given me the 5-minute warning. So just to recap, please, if you haven't already, meet with your hosting mothers. Think about the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Think about your kids. Survey results are already out there. Let's think about what skills our kids have said and our parents and our mothers have said that our kids need development in. And so really ground your activity in that. The where, think about a location that is meaningful. And also with the what and the how. Let's come up with some activities that are, again, but for Jack and Jill. Please, oh my gosh, if you have not already gone to the scope, it is an invaluable resource. Look by the thrust that your particular activity is and get inspired. We're not about stealing ideas. It's about repurposing and getting inspiration. So ladies, I look forward to seeing all of your activities by June the 10th. Every activity that's submitted gets a raffle ticket when you come to June planning. We've got some amazing raffle prizes. The grade group with the first grade group with all of their months submitted will get an extra raffle ticket, and that grade group leader will get a prize. So, let's make this fun. I look forward to seeing you on June 13th. I'll come back next week with some final instructions leading up to June 13th, but hopefully this gives you a little bit of inspiration as you're developing and finalizing your ideas prior to submitting them by June the 10th. Thank you, ladies, and have a good evening.